Hello, in this video I want to talk about karma and justice. I think it's a natural response when you're experiencing being hurt or duped by someone that you hope they experience something similar or are treated in a similar way, particularly when you're still in pain. And you might be wanting to know when the emotional abuser is going to experience their karma for the damage they have caused to you. And at that point, you're probably either at the beginning of your healing journey or part of the way through, but not fully recovered. Hello, my name's Elizabeth Goddard from Revive Your Soul. On this channel, I help people recover from the trauma bond. I talk about healing from emotional abuse and untangling from those invisible chains that are keeping you trapped. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that little notification bell at the side and you'll be notified each time I upload a video. And if you can, please share it, maybe to 2 friends. And if you're returning, welcome back and thank you. So karma and justice, I think it's quite a natural response when you've been through this type of relationship to want them to get justice or karma in some way. You've been hurt, you've been duped in this relationship, you've been abandoned, you feel all sorts of emotions, shame and guilt, and you're wanting to know when the emotional abuser is going to experience karma, when it's going to come back and meet them face on, and they're going to experience something similar. So as I said, you either begin, if you're having those thoughts, you're either at the beginning of your healing journey or you're part way along it, but you're not recovered. So what is karma? Karma originates in Hinduism and Buddhism. It's the sum of a person's actions in this or a previous state of existence, and it's viewed as deciding their fate in future existences. Okay, so what does that mean? So it actually comes from one of the universal laws. So it's like we've got the law of vibration and the law of action and the law of cause and effect and the law of attraction, relativity and polarity. And you might believe that it comes under the heading of cause and effect. They cause you pain and therefore something bad will happen to them. And you're sitting back and you're waiting for this justice to happen. For every action, there is a reaction. It's not about taking revenge. You're waiting for something to happen, justifying in a spiritual way that they caused you harm, so harm must at some point come back to them, and that the universe will equal it all out in some way. It's a bit like you reap what you sow, but karma actually means action. That's what it means. Karma is action. Good action gets good consequences. Bad action gets bad consequences. So good in karma means selfless, not from the ego. Whereas bad is selfish actions. And we might think about the punishment, we might envisage it as outside forces that will bring about justice. But in karma, it isn't that at all. In karma, the bad action has the consequence on the inside of the person. And it's also the same with good karma. So bad actions are about the cycle of selfishness, promoting and defending yourself and blaming others. Any action that promotes and defends is selfishness, pushing people out the way to get what they want. And does that sound familiar? This is about the feelings of losing control and the fear. The punishment is suffering on the inside. So looking at it in the way of karma catching up with the emotional abuser, consider that it already has. When the relationship ended, they had this desperate desire to rebalance the scales, to show everybody that they were okay. And perhaps on some level you did the same. Even though you were in excruciating pain pretending everything was okay. They only have a false self, a fake self hiding behind the mask. They flaunt their new supply, and once again to ensure they're not abandoned, they love bomb them. Is that selfless or is it selfish? And this is done to hurt you even more, as well as to make sure they don't get hurt. They subjected you to fraud and they depleted all of your resources. Selfless or selfish? They mirrored you and then they use your vulnerabilities to punish you. Selfless or selfish? You might long for justice, waiting around for this to happen, hoping you're going to witness it. Coercive control is now a law in the UK, but how many of you considered pursuing them through the court for justice? And have you ever thought about what stopped you? Perhaps you were still in pain, or you didn't think you'd be taken seriously, or maybe you realised they would manipulate everyone in the process. And if you've been a victim to this type of abuse, have you thought about all the people that came before you and will come after you? Have you ever wondered what damage has happened to them? And if they were able to find the information out and heal, all the people coming after you, you might have thought about them maybe a little bit more. You might have considered contacting them to warn them, but you've been advised against it. They think you're crazy anyway. It's amazing how we hear the abuser's story and believe them when they tell us we're the only ones that have ever understood them. By the time you've got out the hell of the trauma bonds and you're starting to repair your life, all you want to do is wipe the memory of them clean. But you're still wanting them to experience karma. In fact, you might envisage that happening to them, living in hope that someone else causes them the pain that they've caused you. There's no denying it, they did set out to destroy you. They will never know how much damage they've really caused. Selfless action is action without thought. And it reminds me of a scene in Friends, and I'll try and find the link and post it below, where Phoebe and Joey are having this argument about charity and giving, whether it's a selfless act. I remember being at Waterloo Station. I'd been on a 4-day course and I was hanging around waiting for my train, and I had £5 in my purse. It was shortly after my relationship broke down, and that's all I had to my name. And a woman ran into the station and she needed £2 because they'd opened up a shelter. I think it was February. And I remember thinking, I've only got a £5, and I gave it to her, and she ran off calling her friend's name. And then I thought, oh, she could do anything. She could go and buy drugs. I don't know whether you get any for a £5, but and then I thought, this has got nothing to do with me, and I know that will come back to me in another form. So I trusted the universe. Was that selfish or selfless? I had no attachment to it, so perhaps it was selfless. Selfless act is having no agenda. So giving to that homeless person on the street, giving to a charity, you're not doing it to look good or feel good. You're not doing it for what it will actually take you to. And that's what selfless is. It's not saying what's in it for me. What do I get out of it? They have a false self, a fake reality, and everything they do is from their ego, and it's done to protect themselves. Remember, you lived in that life, living behind their mask. They are unhappy, bitter, and full of rage, and they have been faking it since childhood. They learn from a really early age how to deflect everything and hide. So is that selfless or selfish? What I'm interested in is what's happening to you while you're sitting around waiting for this justice, waiting for karma to come and bite them on the backside. They are living in constant alert. They're trying to stay out of abandonment hell. Their fragile inner self is in pain. Every slight made or criticism cuts them, and they go into that narcissistic rage. So when is karma going to get them? And are they ever going to experience what you've experienced? They are always going to be trapped, living from drama to drama and claiming they hate it. They are never going to experience what it feels like to feel whole. They are never going to know what it's like to connect and bond, because they live in constant fear of being abandoned. You're in pain. You know what it feels like. And it's hell. You have felt imprisoned by their wounds, or even your wounds that they very kindly mirror back. They are living a fake life, just like the one they were living with you. And all the time they're living in fear. fear of being exposed and fear of abandonment. So perhaps karma visits them daily. Perhaps there's only so long that their new supply can live like that before they wake up and realise that they've been put in hell and they abandon the abuser, or they too are no longer a challenge, they've run out of resources and they are abandoned. We are all on the same narcissistic scale, but for the abuser, when there was a trauma, they chose to abandon themselves. They are manipulative, aggressive, soul-destroying, self-centered, arrogant. They lack empathy or consideration for others. They need excessive admiration. They're patronising, demanding. Are any of those selfless, or are they selfish? And if the real meaning of karma is an internalisation of this, knowing they are doing wrong but continuing to do it, aren't they living in karma? Maybe thinking about it in this way gives you no justice and you want like an eye for an eye sort of justice. I then urge you to do more healing, because those thoughts are coming from a wound. I'm sure you don't want to hurt anyone or see anyone hurt. So where are these emotions coming from? They are bullies and they use other people's fears and insecurities to hurt them. If you are fully healed, then you are no longer hurt by them or thinking about them. And that's the justice, or the karma, or maybe your understanding of karma, because they've been abandoned. They see you as an object. You've always been an object to them, and therefore you belong to them, and you always will. And all they ever do is try and protect themselves from being abandoned. Step up and do the healing. Step into the amazing life that is waiting for you. And if you want to see justice or karma turn up at their door, there it is in full glory. They don't want you to do this. They want you to stay small and stay wounded. Perhaps you are their karma. So don't look back, only look forward. If you'd like to find out more about working with me on a one-to-one basis, you can visit my website, reviveyoursoul.co.uk, or you can send me an email, info@reviveyoursoul.co.uk. I'm going to put the links to the 2 groups I run on Facebook in the description below, along with the links for my 2 books, The A to Z of Emotional Abuse and Finding Lily. Sending you loads and loads and loads of love.